Ken Echols will be back with you next Monday. I'm Mark Childry filling in for him. And tomorrow night, Jonathan and Chance, the Millennials, will be here to answer some critiques that they had on our show Monday, 7 o'clock, tomorrow, Wednesday night. And remember, their show is Thursday night at 7 o'clock, live here on Star News Reidsville. You ready to tackle some phone calls?
Sure.
All right, let's go to the phones. And hi, caller, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I have a question for Sam Page.
All right.
The Sheriff Department, Sam, you're a Republican. Most people know that. The county commissioners, they're pretty much all Republicans. The White House is a Republican. The House of Representatives is Republican. And the Senate is a majority of Republicans also. My question is this. If you raise $1 million doing this right here, what guarantee is it that Congress is going to do something with the money that you're raising along with all the money that they've already gotten? I mean, what guarantee does the public have that the Congress we now have will actually do something about it? And if they don't, what is the solution for fixing it?
You want to know the true solution? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but when was the last time that we, you, others, contacted their senators, had a conversation, sent an email about these concerns? Because a lot of these problems start at the congressional level. The federal funding and the federal legislation or laws, policies, starts at the federal level. And you've seen, probably what I've seen, I've been working on this project for 8 years on the side as sheriff here, working with the national sheriffs. And it's so slow to move, so slow to do anything. And in the meantime, we got people dying in this county, and we got people dying across this country. And I'm not hearing a whole lot of response up in Washington. So there's some congressmen, I think, truly, with all due respect, there's some good congressmen in Congress. But there's some congressmen there I don't think have the will and desire to do anything. And this is one time where our congressmen on all sides could come together to make a difference, to better protect America, to better protect the citizens, help cut that flow into our country, do some funding and help for the treatment and addiction situation for the demand side, and also work with our Mexican partners down below, our neighbors, to help them combat the issues that's leading and bringing the drugs and persons that are being human trafficking and smuggled into this country, where we can, the funding needs to come from Congress. But right now, we're not hearing a lot from Congress. Now, there is a way to fix that. It's called November 6th. Every 4 years, I come up for evaluation by the citizens of Rockingham County.
Right.
And every 4 years, the citizens, every 6 and 2 years, our representatives come up. You need to evaluate, look at what they've done, look at the record, what they've been doing in Congress, and ask yourself the question, have they been doing, well, let's put it this way. If I'd have been working for you, I've been working as sheriff, and I had the pleasure to serve as sheriff for 20 years, and I enjoy what I do, and I love what I do working for the people here in this county. But had you give me 20 years to solve a task such as secure the border, and I didn't get it done in 20 years, what would you do in the private sector? I wouldn't be holding that position. And when you have a problem in your county, you don't, and it's something that's on the federal level, the sheriff is contacted, other officials contacted. But we need to be calling our congressmen, and we need to hold their feet to the fire in what they're supposed to be doing, their duties and responsibilities, because every one of them, sir, took an oath to protect this country, to uphold the Constitution, and that's what I try to do locally, and that's my expectation of what they should be doing at the national level in Congress.
I totally agree with what you're saying, but the thing of it is, with total control with the Republican Party in the House and the White House and all the way down to our county, basically, Republicans control everything. As far as, in other words, if you're a diehard Republican, you vote straight Republican ticket, it's still not getting done what needs to be done. So what other alternative do you have?
Well, and sir, thank you for the question. And we're going to
excellent question. Excellent question.
It's a great
yes,
question.
Sir.
Thank you so much. We just got to move ahead. So what? And I guess to wrap up what he was saying, what do you do?
You do this. You evaluate the work of your congressman. You evaluate the work of your elected officials. And when it comes to every 2 or 4 years, 6 years, you evaluate them. And you feel like persons have not lived up to what they're supposed to be doing. You have options.
All right, and here's an email.
But be informed. Read, be informed, find out, and also try to communicate with your elected officials, because it might be something you don't know that they're working on that they might be able to tell you about.
Here's a comment, rather. I have to say, it's a great idea for the wall, and thank you, sir, for what you do. That's an email that just came in from one of our viewers, and my email is very slow tonight. Says, ask the sheriff who paid the bill for him to travel to view the borders.
The first time I actually paid out of pocket to go to Arizona myself because I wanted to see what was going on. That was the president of the Sheriff's Association. I've also used asset forfeiture monies. That's when we seize money from the bad guys, the drug dealers. I've used their monies to pay for the trips also.
So the county commissioner, that I think is the way it works, that the county commissioners can authorize that for travel or for anything like that.
Seized assets can be used for any law enforcement purpose. So when I go to the border for education and training, when I go to the border to see it for myself so I can bring that information back to my sheriffs in here and around Rockingham County and also across North Carolina, because I'm also on the executive committee of the North Carolina Sheriff's Association, past president, I can use those monies for training, equipment, technology, law enforcement purpose, any law enforcement purpose.
The county commissioners have to authorize it?
Yeah, county commissioners, they approve, and the county manager also has some authority to approve there too.
Okay.
But I do want to say that my first trip to Arizona, out to Manel County, and out there near Maricopa, where Joe Payo's from, that I actually paid for it myself.
Okay, all right, back to the phones. Hi, caller, thanks for being on hold so long.
Good question.
And welcome to the show. What have you got for Sheriff Page?
Yes, I would like your opinion on something. I'm all for the wall. I think we need to stop that flow. But every time I hear something about the wall, I always hear about the cost. Well, I just want to ask your opinion on something. Do you think that the services that all these illegals utilize, I mean, in the education system, in the health system, and all this here in the United States, if you total that up, don't you think wouldn't that pay for the wall?
Well, it could help. The problem, and I'm going to be short with, and I don't mean to be short, but according to FAIR, Federation for American Immigration Reform, it estimates somewhere around $2 billion a year for benefits that are paid to persons that are here in our country illegally for benefits. Under federal law, if it's a child here that is illegal, the child cannot be denied elementary and middle school and high school education.
Did that answer your question? I think he hung up. So, in other words...
And there's some things that the federal law you have to comply with, but my understanding, roughly about $2 billion a year cost in North Carolina for benefits.
Here's a question. I mean, here's something that someone had asked. You wanted to raise $100,000.
Yeah.
It's going to cost $18 billion, according to the Government Accountability Office. So how in the world...
Well, I think the concept was this. It was not... You're
not talking about funding the whole
That's
thing.
Exactly, yeah. Basically,
this is basically a message.
Basically, it's a message to our Congress. You've had the past 10, 15, 20 years to make decisions to better protect America and its borders. Here's an opportunity. We're showing the citizens how they can help if they want to help, but also it should be a message to you is we all took an oath to protect this country and the people within it, our country, and also our communities. We're just asking you to do your job, abide by your oath.
All right, and there's the numbers at the bottom of the screen, and let me check to see. I'm sorry that my email is very slow, but let's see, no emails, so let's go back to the phone. Hi, caller, welcome to the show. You're on with Sheriff Sam Page. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask you a question.
Sir, go ahead and ask your question. He's listening.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. When you first ran against the current sheriff in Rockingham County, and you came around to different places in my house for number one to help you on it to get you elected, and then you lost, and then the second time you came around, stopped me on the highway and want to know would I help you, and I told you yes I would.
Thank you.
My wife and I did, and then when you was elected, you had no clue who we were. And then my dollar went to work for you.
All right, sir, let's cut to the chase in this because we got a lot of people that want to talk to the sheriff. So what's your question for the sheriff?
Well, would you mind shutting up now?
No, sir, I won't, because actually it's my show, so I don't have to shut up. And so here we go. Back to the phone. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. How you doing this evening?
Doing well. Hope you are.
Wonderful. First of all, Mark, you do an excellent job.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Yep. Sheriff Page, thank you for your service. You don't make enough money. You need a raise.
Thank you. Well, but I got to tell you something. I don't do this job for the money. I never have.
I agree. I agree. Question for you. Trying to come up with ways to raise money. And I live in Danville, and I've talked to city officials and some the chief of police, and they're looking into it. You know, there's a few things that goes on every day. You see it, Mark sees it, everybody sees it, and I don't want to say people turn a blind eye to it, but it would definitely pay for itself.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Where you're at Rockingham County, they actually do it, but how much money do you think would generate for the county, in Pennsylvania County, city, Danville, or where you're at, if you had one police officer or two, depending on how big the city is or whatever, and all they done was run? How many times have you been to your local shopping center, and you see all these people parked in the fire lanes? You see all these people that pull up in front of the liquor store to run in quick to get something, or they're parked in a handicapped spot knowing they're not supposed to be there, or they park in a handicapped spot and put somebody else's decal in the window, which I know that's illegal also, correct?
Right.
Hello?
So,
right. I'm still with you. We're following you. Go ahead. So you're saying a sign a person.
Violation, correct?
So what you're saying is you think the agencies need to assign a person pretty much for compliance with persons in violation on those type of offenses?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think, because I think it would definitely pay for the police officer and the vehicle. And how much money do you think that would generate for the city? I mean, for a handicapped spot, you're looking at $250 to $500. Easy. Not to mention the court cost and all that. What are your thoughts on that?
All right, sir, and we're going to let him answer that question. Thank you for calling. I do appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment as well. Go ahead.
I do appreciate the compliments. I think this is the biggest problem we probably got right now is having that person to do that. I don't know if that would, the thing is we have persons that work in code enforcement that part of their salaries are paid for through the enterprise fund.
Right.
For people that are using our landfill, helps pay for their salaries.
Right.
We've got persons that work in the fraud section of DSS that they go after persons that try to defraud the government, because it's got federal and state monies, and that helps pay for their positions. And so those are two, and we actually have two deputies that do the litter and the trash cleanup. We have the inmates, the volunteer inmates, to go out and do the cleanups around the cities and the county.
Right.
And that's paid for. Also through the enterprise fund. So we've got some pretty good programs. But I think the biggest problem is having that person dedicated to do just that. Now every officer and every deputy has the authority to write a citation if they see someone parked illegally in a handicapped parking space. They also have the authority to enforce the ordinances with the violation of the fire code, where you see every time you pull up, I ain't gonna say the stores, you pull up, somebody's parked over near a fire lane or parked over near a no parking area and stuff like that. And so it could bring in some revenue, but I think the thing is really is that gonna fund $18 to $20 billion? That's a big check that has to be written, and I don't think you can do it all in 1 year. I think this year they were actually asking for about $1.5 to $5 billion to get part of it done. There's a section about 65 miles along the McAllen, Texas, near the Rio Grande Valley, near Laredo, back over toward McAllen. And basically what it's during that 65-mile border area, that's where we actually went down to. We went up to the Rio Grande. You could see across the river. It's no wider than the Dan River. And the thing is, people come across there pretty regular and stuff like this. Those are the areas that are conducive to have the wall areas to restrict those persons from being able to easily access, the United States by coming across our border areas. But I just don't know. I don't know if most municipalities and most counties, they probably don't have enough money to add officers as it is right now. Last year or last budget year, we were brought up the issue about school resource officers, and that's a tough issue. And we had to look at the grants to see if there's any grants available because there's not a lot of money available. And the county commissioners, they've got limited amounts of money to work with. But I think we need to go back to Congress, and I think we need to have those discussions with our senators across the board on both sides of the aisle and have those conversations and encourage them to do their jobs, protect America, secure our borders, and help us cut that flow of drugs into our country that's killing our citizens here that we're talking about now.
336-484-8050 is one number. 888-400-3801 is the other number, and we even pay for the call when you call toll free. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show. You're on with Sheriff Page.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the sheriff, when he first ran for the office of the sheriff, was he a Democrat or a Republican?
Were you a Democrat or a Republican?
The first time I ran for office, I ran as a Democrat, and then I switched parties about 6 months, I guess, after the election, and I've run as a Republican ever since.
And why did you switch parties?
Well, it was my choice in America, freedom of choice, and I believe that was the direction that I wanted to go.
Uh-huh.
All right, sir. Does that answer your question?
No.
Okay.
Well, all right.
Opinions differ.
Right, I guess they do. We got to take a break. We're behind time, so we're going to take a break. We will be back. Sheriff Sam Page has been here for the last hour. We'll have a few minutes left right after these messages.